The Center for Human Rights is hosting a student essay contest with a grand prize of $4,000. To learn more, please visit our website at humanrights.catholic.edu. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Barefoot Lawyer Reports on China. My name is Will Deathridge, the producer, and joining me as always is Chen Guangcheng.
Hello everyone, I'm glad to see you here again.
Today we're covering a topic that we've talked about in the past from communist China, which has to do with the Communist Party's role in appointing bishops in the Catholic Church. Most recently, there's a diocese of Xinjiang whose bishop, Joseph Zhang Weizhu, has been in custody by the Communist Party for a while, and the Communist Party recently announced his replacement, and some of our listeners might be wondering how that is, or why is it that the Communist Party can determine who a bishop is. And today Guangcheng is going to explain to us the agreement that the Vatican's had with the Communist Party. Guangcheng, can you explain what's going on between the Vatican and China with appointing bishops?
Yeah, that is several years ago, in 2018.
Okay.
And Vatican signed an agreement with the CCP, and they all agree, the CCP have to give the name list from mainland China to Vatican to let the Pope decide who will become the bishop in mainland China.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but 1 or 2 years later, the CCP changed the law about the Christian.
Okay.
And said, we will decide by ourselves in mainland China anything about Christians. So the CCP ignored the agreement, right? And I got some information from Fujian, Guangdong, and Zhejiang provinces.
Okay.
Even Guangxi provinces, a lot of Catholic people are unhappy the Vatican give the rights to appoint bishops to the CCP. Since 7 years ago, the CCP control the power who will become the bishops in mainland China. In Vatican, they understand that the CCP never want to honor the agreement, but they don't know how to resolve that problem.
Gotcha.
And another thing is the influence people there too. The CCP used some benefit to influence Vatican.
How do they do that, Guangcheng? What does the Vatican get from the Communist Party? How do they influence the Vatican?
The CCP gives them opportunity, for example, invites the cardinals to visit mainland China.
Gotcha.
And they arrive in mainland China, they will give them looks like they are respected and let them feel very good. And they will give them the opportunity to give a speech. The CCP used some companies to pay the speech fee and help them to print some books. Of course, if you want to print a book in mainland China, you have to delete all the parts that criticize the CCP or criticize the CCP's policy, right? So more and more, the influence very deep. So I remember Cardinal Zhang flew from Hong Kong to Vatican to try to meet the Pope to talk about the CCP's prosecution in mainland China.
This is back with Pope Francis, right?
Yeah, Pope Francis, yeah. But I don't understand why the Pope Francis refused to meet him. He waiting in the hotel more than 3 days. Then he have to fly back to Hong Kong. I don't know why, he is a cardinal, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why Pope Francis don't want to meet him. He live in Hong Kong. He understand a lot of CCP's idea and what the CCP did there. If he really want to understand how evil the CCP, he should talk with anyone in Hong Kong, but not. So, now the new Pope.
Yeah, Pope Leo.
Right? Yeah, Pope Leo. I hope Pope Leo will change the policy between Vatican and CCP.
Yeah, Guangcheng, if you could give advice to Pope Leo, what would it be? What do you think you would recommend him to do with the church in China?
I will say, please support the Catholic people in mainland China, and please keep the rights to appoint bishops and support them to get their rights. And please learn from Pope John Paul II to stand with Chinese people to change CCP's party-state system.
So Guangcheng, what did John Paul II do? He's very famous for helping tear down communism in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, I hope the new Pope work hard to tear down CCP in mainland China. If the communist authoritarian was torn down by him, all the communist country will change.
Yeah, so Guangcheng, some people say that part of Pope Francis's diplomacy was to try and make friends with all the governments that they could. What do you, why do you think that strategy didn't work with the CCP?
That was not just Vatican. All the Western countries tried to make a good relationship with CCP. No one gets successful. So I think in the future, we should not spend any moment to try to make a good relationship with the devil. We just need to think how we can join hands to tear down CCP, to throw the tyranny into the ash heap of history. That's the only way we can resolve the communist problem in the whole world.
What advice would you give to Catholics living in China? If anyone ever, heard your podcast there, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I think the people who live in mainland China, the Catholic people, you should keep going to learn from Bible. Of course, the CCP made the evil law to try to use that to persecuting them. The Catholic people in mainland China should think how to oppose the persecution. There are a lot of house churches in mainland China in different provinces.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, sometimes the CCP attack the house churches, but only around 20 to 30% were tear down by CCP.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, if you agree to go to CCP's church, we call it a 3Z church, right? Yeah, if you go to there, the CCP install the camera there and recording anything what you said. So that is not real church.
Gotcha.
The CCP just want to use that place to do the censorship. So I think we should refuse to do that if we can. Yeah.
So only the house churches are safe then, right?
I think the house churches, that is the free place.
Well, we'll continue following up on this story, especially as we see how Pope Leo XIV responds to the Communist Party. Each pope's strategy is a little bit different. Guangcheng, thank you so much for sharing this information with us today.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.
The Catholic University of America's Center for Human Rights has published a documentary on the United Nations Universal Declaration on Human Rights. The documentary features world-class human rights experts, from former State Department officials to ambassadors and human rights activists. It can be found on our website at humanrights.catholic.edu.